Oh, you are mute.
Sorry, I've been doing this for a while because there was a delay with the intro video. What an excellent and professional setup we have here. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us once again on the European Soccer Show. We have much to talk about today. No more so than it is the end of the league season in two of the top five leagues in Europe, and next weekend is the last of the others. So lots and lots to cover. But the main headlines, well, we got a lot of sad goodbyes to some legends at certain clubs in Spain. They're all saying goodbye. Except to the teams, obviously, because all the teams are doing their hardest to stay in the division. Elsewhere in Italy, same thing. The two scrapping at the bottom, trying to stay up. Oh, they keep on winning. Where are these victories coming from? But yes, end of the season in Ligue 1, end of the season in the Bundesliga. Climax is there plenty. And it's not even Valentine's Day. But we are going to start with, as ever, the Premier League. And the big news came last night, talking about the title race. Awful match, awful performance. Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. And in doing so, Arsenal are just one win away from securing the title and may already have won the title if Manchester City fail to beat Bournemouth tonight. Arsenal in recent weeks have kind of sort of clicked back into gear, a bit more of an attacking force. But this felt very, very stodgy. But credit where credit's due, they got over the line against a very poor Burnley team.
Yeah, as you said, it was a poor game from a poor performance from Arsenal yesterday. They can even be happy with not ending the game with 10 men because of Havertz's foul that should have been sentenced by a red card, in my opinion. But the main thing about that game is that Arsenal won, and that's the only thing supporters will remember if they are to win the Premier League in the next few hours or days. There was a little bit of tension, a little bit euphemism, of course, because we could feel that they were not, I wouldn't say afraid, but this was an historical moment for Arsenal because they are now only 1 point away from the title. So they absolutely needed this win, and it was more difficult than the opponent should have been, with Burnley being already relegated.
Yeah. Some might say, some have been saying if they do win, they'd be the worst champions in the Premier League history. However, we should point out, still champions.
Yeah.
Like I say, Manchester City need to beat Bournemouth at Bournemouth tonight in order to keep the title race alive. Otherwise, Arsenal do win. That's only because Manchester City played at home against Crystal Palace in midweek, where they won 3-0. A couple of excellent Phil Foden assists in that match, particularly one that was this beautiful back heel, which was fantastic. But the big news for Manchester City, apart from the fact they won the FA Cup on Saturday, do you want to speak about that? No, thought not. Right. But they won 1-0 through an excellent Antoine Semenyo goal. But the big news, of course, the announcement that Pep Guardiola will be leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. So the first question is to cover. Do you think Manchester City regret the news coming out now? Because, of course, having won a cup double with the League Cup and FA Cup, it's a pretty good haul for his last year. But also, they are still in a title race, and this feels like the sort of news that can derail that.
Yeah, but if we are being honest, there is 99% of observers that know that Arsenal are going to win the Premier League.
Well, we should point out this news did come out before the game last night, so
yeah,
we don't know if it's had an effect. But the fact is that it has come out in an unopportune moment.
Yeah, as you said, but for Manchester City, I don't think it changes a lot. The players, maybe I think they already know that Pep Guardiola is going to leave at the end of the season. He has been doing a tremendous job at City, winning the Champions League, of course, multiple Premier League, maybe being one of the most dominant team in Premier League history. I wouldn't say in English football history because I don't know everything about English football, but of course, Manchester City will leave something in the collective memory, and I think it was important for them to lift a last trophy with the FA Cup, and they really deserved this win.
Yeah.
So,
Especially since they lost the last two finals.
yeah,
as
of
well.
course.
Chelsea, on the other hand, big match for them tonight as well. They are at home against Tottenham Hotspur after losing that final. The big news for them is that they've secured the services of Xabi Alonso for next season, which is something of a coup, isn't it? Considering the state that football club is currently in and the what some have described as mismanagement or poor management at the top, and yet they secured an incredibly exciting manager, and we should point out manager, not head coach. So future looking bright all of a sudden for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea is the kind of club Xabi Alonso should have gone before engaging himself to Real Madrid last summer. I think going from Bayer Leverkusen after the exceptional season he had achieved in Bundesliga to a struggling Real Madrid, even if they had win the Champions League in 2024, was maybe a step too big for him because, of course, he's a young manager, and going into Chelsea's project after the recent mounts and the bad results they had, I think it's a good thing for him to start again, especially since he will join not in the course of the season but at the beginning of it, so he will have the time to work and maybe also to tell his management, I want these players, and this would be
because Lord
it could
knows
be a good
Chelsea.
fit.
Lord knows Chelsea don't have enough players.
No, I don't think they have enough. Maybe
No.
they should recruit this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Another $1.5 billion, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's like I say, big match night at home to Spurs. Spurs, we should say, if they draw that game, Tottenham Hotspur will be safe. That is due in part to their superior goal difference over West Ham, currently being 13 goals, so there'll be an unlikely swing. But also at the weekend, West Ham went to Newcastle and lost 3-1. A disastrous opening 20 minutes for the Hammers, conceding twice in that time. They did score a beautiful consolation goal through Castellanos, but yeah, 3-1. It does feel like this is the moment. West Ham, the recent weeks, they had that 0-0 away at Crystal Palace, who were playing the B team. They had that 3-0 defeat at Brentford, where they hit the post a couple of times, had a penalty overturned, all these things. It does feel like West Ham have run out of opportunities.
Yeah, moreover, as their momentum collapsed just as the Spurs began, when because Tottenham's decision to bring De Zerbi in as manager is now on the verge of proving decisive. He has been a game changer for Tottenham this past since he arrived, and yeah, West Ham with this three defeats in a row, it should prove the end of the dream of staying up.
It's a sad for a club of that size, but yeah, if you're among the worst ones, it's going to be a risk. We should also say that big opportunity for Spurs, like they basically never get anything from Stamford Bridge. But Chelsea are currently on a 8-match winless run, I think.
I think they have only won 1 point from the 7 points.
Yeah.
From the 7 games.
So this is an opportunity, but Chelsea they have an opportunity still to get it back into Europe. They can't get into the Champions League, but a couple of victories means they would probably still reach the Europa League, or maybe even the Conference League. As we know, they love being in that competition. Other things we should speak about. A bit of the tension still at Anfield. Liverpool went to Aston Villa on Friday and lost 4-2. We should point out that's a kind result for Liverpool. Aston Villa were fantastic, but Liverpool were pretty awful. A couple of goals coming from Van Dijk via set pieces. But Liverpool down to 5th, ahead of Bournemouth by 4 points. Bournemouth, who have a game in hand against Manchester City. Liverpool aren't quite in the Champions League yet. Big summer for them as well, if only just to get a bit of faith back from the fans.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the game against Brentford, that should have been the last game of the season without real stakes. It could prove decisive for the Champions League if Bournemouth are to win against Manchester City tonight. But once again, against Aston Villa, who have, we can say, secured their place in the Champions League next season.
Yes, of course.
Liverpool are a team that have conceded too much goals this season, especially compared last season. They struggled to respond when they were trailing their opponents. You have said that they will need to work this summer, and you're right. There will be a lot of work. I think it will be with Arne Slot, because, of course, we have said it last week. Yeah, I think he deserves a second chance for what he have achieved. He has achieved.
Yeah, you don't win a title by chance, or by accident. We should move on. So, other news, going to say Manchester United. We should be talking about the fact that they've offered a contract to Michael Carrick, who apparently is very close to being confirmed. But instead, we need to talk about what are the goals, because there's a theme around this weekend in the UK about what the hell is handball anymore. No one knows. This is not just my opinion. This seems to be like a confusion among professionals generally. For example, Manchester United defeated Nottingham Forest 3-2. But the Mateus Cunha goal, the ball clearly was controlled by Brian Mbeumo in the build-up to the goal, and he clearly got an advantage from it. And yet it was not. And VAR ruled that the referee should go to the screen and have another look at it. And yet he decided not to. So it feels, first of all, it feels incredible that goal was given. But secondly, something has to change, doesn't it? Because, spoiler alert, but later on we're going to talk about the Scottish Premiership, and there is so much controversy about what is handball and what isn't. It feels like the officials can't win, and they've only got themselves to blame.
But I don't think it's an English, Scottish, French, Italian problem. It's a global one. Remember the Bayern Munich PSG game, the handball from Neves, even on the first leg, the penalty.
Alphonso Davies, right?
Yeah, Alphonso Davies. I don't know the. It's not that I don't know the rule; it's that I don't understand it, because I have the impression that the rule is always changing. It's like the weather; every day is different, and
I would actually agree with that. Exactly, it is very much like the weather in that it's currently miserable and no one wants to be in it.
Yeah, but how can players should deal with everything if even the referees are not on the same page on every game? Yeah. It's quite complicated.
Other scores from the Premier League this weekend: Brentford came from Brentford came from behind twice to draw 2-2 at home against Crystal Palace. Sunderland came from behind at Everton to win 3-1. Good result there. Leeds United, undefeated in 8 games. They are now 11 points clear of relegation zone. What an astonishing turnaround of that club. They defeated Brighton 1-0. Dominic Calvert-Lewin getting the only goal. And the other match to mention was Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Fulham 1. That's it mentioned. We can never speak of it again. Right, let's go along, shall we? To Serie A. We're a little saunter there. First things first, we should mention in midweek, it was the Coppa d'Italia final between Lazio and Inter. Inter won 2-0, getting goals from one being an own goal and the other one coming from Lautaro Martinez. A domestic double for Inter seems fitting, doesn't it? They've been by far the best team this year.
Yeah, it's the just reward for what they have done in Italy this season. So and during this Coppa Italia final, they were just the dominant one. It's quite logical that they have win this game against Lazio, and it doesn't suffer of any injustice or anything. They were just the better team.
Tough week for Lazio, in fact, because
Yeah.
then on Sunday they were in the Rome derby against Roma. Champions League chasing Roma, who defeated them 2-0, with both goals coming from Mancini, who, let's say, is not Lazio's favourite person. Lazio fans' favourite person, rather. And with that victory, Roma move into fourth place. They've leapfrogged Juventus, because Juventus played Fiorentina at home in Turin and lost 2-0. A bit of an abject performance from Juve at the worst time of the season.
Yeah, that's true. But remember that Juve had already lost points against Hellas Verona 2 weeks ago. Now the chances of qualifying to the Champions League are really slim.
In fact, sorry to interrupt, but we should point out, in fact, they've been overtaken by Como as well. Como, who defeated Parma 1-0 at home. So third place are AC Milan, who defeated Genoa 2-1. So Milan are on 70, Roma are on 70, Como on 68, Juventus are on 68. So just the 2 points separating four teams, all to play for in the final week. But yeah, it does feel like Milan just about getting over the line now after their ridiculous form recently. But Juve, this was kind of unexpected, wasn't it? They've been in such good form recently.
Yeah, but their season is once again a disappointment, because remember in the Champions League they were knocked out by Galatasaray in the round of 16. Now they are sixth in the league. They are unlikely to qualify for the Champions League next season, because just take a look at the fixtures of next week in Serie A. Juventus, so they will play Torino in the derby. But the thing is that Milan will play Cagliari at home. Cagliari were 16th, and Roma, they will travel to Verona. So I don't think these two teams will lose points. And in fact, Juventus will only finish fifth or sixth and qualify for the Europa League, which is not the competition they should be playing.
Yeah, especially when you consider the position they've been in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Elsewhere, as I said, Milan won at Genoa. Napoli have all but confirmed their second place finish. Napoli went to Pisa and won 3-0. They need basically not to lose by a lot of goals and they'll finish second. But they have confirmed their qualification for the Champions League, which means their signing of Rasmus Højlund has been confirmed, because his loan targets have been reached. But also a mention for Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay scored in this goal, as well as Højlund, which is, he's just reached 10 goals for the season, and he's become the first midfielder to score 10 goals in consecutive seasons since, do you know who?
In Italy or
in Italy,
Europe?
I think. It was another Napoli player. It was Hamšík, who is regarded as an absolute legend by the club. So that really is just talking about how much McTominay not only is important to Napoli, but is loved by the fans. He's becoming that icon they so adore. Moving away from the Champions League race, we should probably look at the bottom, because both you and I thought that Lecce and Cremonese would lose this week, and then next week they're both at home and it could be a big shootout. It's like, no, shows what we know. First of all, Cremonese went to Udinese and they won 1-0 thanks to Jamie Vardy's party bus still continuing. But Lecce went to Sassuolo, who've had a fantastic season. Lecce led 1-0, then again 2-1, pegged back twice. But then Stulic for Lecce got a winner in the 6-minute stoppage time. Cue limbs. So yes, both Lecce and Cremonese winning, which is both teams' second victory in 3 matches. Again, it's sort of beggars belief, right? Like where is this form coming from? As we'll see with La Liga, it's astonishing what a kick up the backside will do.
Yeah, I think it's survival instinct. But to be honest, I think Cremonese's victory came too late because they will face Como in the next round, even if they are going to play at home. Playing a team that is on the verge of qualifying for Champions League, it will be really, really, really difficult for them. And the
And we
thing is
should point
that,
out, if Cremonese can draw, then they need Lecce to lose by 3 goals or more. I think.
yeah, that's so.
Yeah, yeah.
It would takes a real upset for Cremonese to stay up in the Serie A, but there, to be honest, having 34 points as a promoted team is not a really bad result. But the thing is that they have a wake too late, and that maybe
And we should point out they have not been by far the worst team. Like Pisa and Verona have stunk the league up, whereas Cremonese, considering the opening day victory at the San Siro against Milan, was so, but it does all go down to the final week, though. As you say, Lecce are at home to Genoa, Cremonese are at home to Como, all to play for there. The other something else to mention from Serie A, there was an interesting fixture between Atalanta and Bologna. Bologna won in Bergamo 1-0 thanks to Orsolini. But it does mean that Bologna are now only 3 points behind Atalanta. So Atalanta, for the last 3-4 weeks, have looked certain of 7th place, but they're in different form has allowed Bologna to catch up. So if Bologna win, Atalanta lose, Bologna could snatch that final European spot.
Yeah, but it would take a good result for Bologna because there is
head-to-head.
That's the head-to-head rule.
Yeah, again, this is where it gets confusing because some leagues prioritize head-to-head, some prioritize goal difference, and then head-to-head.
Yeah.
But this one is head-to-head. Hence why Milan are ahead of Roma.
But do you know who Bologna will play in the final round?
I do. They are at home to Inter.
Yeah.
But also, we should point out it's not the same Inter. I mean, Inter this weekend drew at home to Verona.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the same Inter. Although excellent goal scorer for Verona in stoppage time equalised, and it was Bowie. So good old Bowie, the star man himself, scored for Verona. The only other results that we didn't talk about was Cagliari 2. Torino 1, and Torino will host the Turin Derby next week, the final fixture of the season in Serie A. And before we move away from Serie A, quick word on Serie A B, because as we know, the playoffs have just happened, or rather the first leg of the playoffs in Serie B.
Why do you call it the Serie B? Because the Serie A.
Silly me, Serie B. Anyway, but it's been a strange week for all the clubs owned by the City Group, because obviously they've just lost Guardiola, the head of the whole group.
Yeah.
Gosh, in France, their team Trois have been promoted from Ligue 2. In Spain, spoiler alert, one of their team, Girona, may well get relegated. But Palermo of the City Group, they were favourites to go up via the playoffs, and they just lost 3-0 at Catanzaro, which is quite a heavy defeat. Yeah. So Palermo look like they are probably out, although the second leg's coming up, so something to keep an eye on, I think. But yeah, one match left in Serie A. Coming up next week, something to keep your eye on. But until then, we are going off to the Bundesliga for their final round of fixtures of the season. Now, if you guys have been watching and keeping track of the Bundesliga, you'll remember that there were 3 teams fighting for the Champions League place and 3 teams fighting for that one relegation playoff spot. And it was something of an anticlimax, wasn't it? Because out of those 6 teams, only one of them won. Yeah. So, bit of a duff end. So let's talk about the team that won. So St. Pauli hosted Wolfsburg in a clash of the bottom. That came out wrong. Clash of the lower table. And Wolfsburg winning 3-1. A precious victory, which means Wolfsburg will finish in 16th place. So they finished in the relegation playoff spot. St. Pauli finished bottom. And Heidenheim, who lost at home 2-0 to Mainz, will also be relegated. So St. Pauli and Heidenheim are down. Wolfsburg live to fight another day for now. First of all, credit to Wolfsburg because, again, they managed to find 2 victories in the last few weeks. That very precious. It gives them a fighting chance. But also, it's sad to see Heidenheim go, isn't it? Because they put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah, it was. I was quite sad for Heidenheim not to survive because of what they have achieved in the last weeks. But I'm also glad to see Wolfsburg have their chance to stay in the Bundesliga because it is, of course, a big club. But even if Heidenheim had win their games against Mainz, the goal difference would certainly have prevented them from climbing into the 16th place. Now, just to precise that Wolfsburg will play Paderborn in a 2 legs playoff to know who will be in the Bundesliga next season. So it will be interesting to see that. And yeah, Wolfsburg, congrats to them to haven't suffered the pressure of a relegation.
So yeah, as you mentioned, Wolfsburg will play in that playoff against Paderborn. Paderborn, who managed to get through the playoffs in the Bundesliga. They will face them next week, I believe. Exciting. Yeah, so looking at the Champions League play, only 1 Champions League place to fight for. Bayern obviously have won the title on 89 points, scoring 122 goals. My God. Dortmund finished second on 73 after they won 2-0 at Werder Bremen. And RB Leipzig finished third on 65, despite their loss at Freiburg, 4-1. Freiburg warming up for their Europa League final with a 4 victory. So yes, the teams in question were Bayer Leverkusen, Stuttgart, and Hoffenheim. And it's fair to say all 3 of them performed pretty miserably, in fact. Bayer Leverkusen drew 1-1 at home against Hamburg. Stuttgart threw away a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 at Frankfurt. And Hoffenheim lost 4-0 at Borussia Mönchengladbach. I suppose my first question is, are you going to give credit to any of them, or do you think these are actually significantly poor performances, especially from Leverkusen, who, being at home, had a real chance to get the victory against a lower part of the table side? But yeah, who are you most disappointed with in this? Do you think Stuttgart could deserve congratulations, or was it just like a best of the worst kind of situation?
Oh, I want to congratulate Hoffenheim between these 3 because even if, of course, it's a disappointing result for them to have been beaten by Gladbach and only playing in the Europa League next season, they must be proud of what they have done because if you remember, last season they were on the brink of the relegation. They finished 15th in the league, and yet this season they qualified and battled for the Champions League spot. So it was a real good season for Hoffenheim, and it is a good season for them. It's been almost 10 years that they hadn't performed that way. So yeah, it's I think this season is a success for them.
It's a fair point. We should say as well, they were losing 2-0 at Mönchengladbach before they had a man sent off in the first minute of the second half for second buckle offence. So it was always a long way back from that. Yeah, I suppose Stuttgart led 2-0, as I mentioned before. Burkhardt got a couple of goals, 2 penalties, in fact, for Frankfurt. So it was just kind of sloppy from Stuttgart, wasn't it? It wasn't as if Frankfurt created that much. It was 2 defensive errors that let them back into the game.
Yeah, as you said, but it's Stuttgart had mixed results this past weeks. But the important thing is that they will play in the Champions League next season, of course. And congratulations to them because it shows a kind of consistency because they had finished second 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. They are now 4th. They will play in the Champions League again. So their project is solid,
and of course next week they're in the cup final against Bayern.
Of course,
actually, the last few years have been brilliant for Stuttgart, haven't they?
Yeah.
And actually, they've had another fantastic season. Champions League qualification, another cup final. They're second in a row, defending champions. Yeah, it's a good time to be a Stuttgart fan.
Yeah.
So they finished fourth. Hoffenheim finished in fifth, going into the Europa League next season. Leverkusen in sixth. We should say, as I said, Freiburg. So let's have a quick word on Freiburg. So they finished seventh. And as I mentioned, they warmed up. So tomorrow night they face Aston Villa in the Europa League final, and they warmed up with a 4-1 victory at home to RB Leipzig. Now, obviously, Villa are the big favourites for that game, but Freiburg are in excellent form at the minute. So how much of a chance do you give them?
I would say that Freiburg have 45% of winning against Aston Villa, because now that they have assured a European qualification for next season, they don't have any pressure of the results, except for the title, of course. And there is a motivation for them, is that if they beat Aston Villa, they will be qualified in the Champions League next season for the first time in their history, and they have missed these opportunities for 3 or 4 years now. So it's only bonus for them tomorrow, and it will be very interesting to see that thing. And just to finish with that, I want to have a quick word on Frankfurt. We will hope Freiburg to win this one, because I think it should help them to qualify for the Conference League.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, and because it's the first time in 6 years that Frankfurt haven't qualified for European competition, so it's a real failure for them.
Yeah. Strange year for them, but of course the rise of Hoffenheim as well has put another competitor among them. Other results we didn't mention: Union Berlin won 4-0 at home to Augsburg, a wonderful victory to sign off the season. And speaking of signing off the season style, Bayern defeated Köln 5-1 with another Harry Kane hat-trick. That's his fourth of the Bundesliga Bundesliga season. That means he finishes on 36 goals in 31 matches. Which is also his 63rd of the season in all competitions.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But
and I should say he did not win Player of the Year.
No, yeah, Michael Olise did.
Yeah. Which actually you'd say is, I don't know. I'm feeling slightly conflicted because Olise, I think he got 14 goals but 19 assists. So like the numbers are still incredible. Yeah. But like I think he gave more to the team than Kane. Kane, on the other hand, is just. It's strange to say. I think Kane, if this was like voting for a Ballon d'Or, I think more people would vote for Kane, and yet Player of the Season, Olise's got the nod. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I agree with you. But Kane has been tremendous once again. And you were mentioning his total goals. I wonder how Lionel Messi had scored 91 goals in 20.
It was a calendar year, wasn't it?
Yeah, a calendar year, but no one can achieve this. That's
well, Kane does have the final next week, and then of course the World Cup, and then of course the start of next season. So I reckon he can get to about 80.
Which would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, that was what Messi did was just ridiculous, unbelievable, in fact. Right. So I think that's the. Oh no! One last thing to mention from Germany before we move on. So as mentioned, Wolfsburg will play Paderborn in the playoff, but the two teams definitely coming up are Schalke, as we knew. But huge congratulations to Elfsberg. So this is an astonishing journey for Elfsberg, because at the end of the 21-22 season, they were promoted from the 4th division only 5 seasons ago. So in the space of 5 seasons, they've been promoted 3 times. And this is the first ever time they've reached the top division. So enormous congratulations. And what a wonderful thing that'll be for the fans. And again, this is like a tiny place. The stadium's right next to a town which is like 12,000 people.
Yeah,
the stadium holds like 8,000. It's.
Yeah, and I saw that they don't have any city hall and train station, which is funny.
Away days are going to be tricky.
Yeah,
Yes.
true.
Anyway, so huge congratulations. We look forward to talking about them endlessly next season. Right, so Auf Wiedersehen to the Bundesliga and Germany. It's time, guys. It's La Liga. Let's try and make sense of this. It's all about the relegation battle because, quite frankly, before last week, it still involved 12 teams in the relegation fight.
Yeah.
Like 12 teams could still feasibly get relegated. We should say the first team to be confirmed was Real Oviedo, so they were definitely down before last week. But the huge surprise is that we have another, well, almost confirmation of a side being relegated, and that's Mallorca. Mallorca, who in midweek lost 3-1 to Getafe before losing the big game away to Levante 2-0. So disastrous for Mallorca, which is strange because I remember about 7-8 weeks ago, Mallorca had gone on a wonderful run to get out of trouble. And again, as we keep saying, like the second one team gets good form, they get sucked back in because every single team is finding that form. It's almost cruel, but it's also wonderful to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And do you know what is the strangest thing about Mallorca?
Tell me.
Is that Vedat
Muriqi? They have the second top goal scorer in the league.
With 22 goals, which is impressive. So Vedat Muriqi has literally scored 50% of Mallorca's goal this season. So, and today they are unlikely to stay in La Liga.
Now, we should point out, the reason is they are on -13 as a goal difference, and teams that are 3 points ahead of them, Elche are -8, Osasuna's -5, Levante's -13, so that's doable, but then head-to-head, I think they'd lose that anyway. So Mallorca, feasibly, if they win by 4 or 5 goals, they could still stay up. Now, the interesting thing is, you know who they play at the end of the season?
No.
They are at home to Real Oviedo, bottom of the table, tapped out. So it's not impossible.
No,
but but this is what I mean by but it does seem like even this relegation
improbable.
Battle, but it does seem a shame, doesn't it? Because Mallorca, again, we would never say like they've been one of the 3 worst teams this season because there have been regular points in the season they've been good.
Yeah, but the thing is that some teams have been good at some moments of the season. Remember Elche at the beginning of the season, they were in the European race. Espanyol too. We were talking about them to qualify for the Europa League. So Osasuna had one of the best home record of the whole league. So it's some team. Every team had their momentum.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Espanyol, they were winless this entire calendar year until last week. And then suddenly, 2 matches, 2 wins. Espanyol, they defeated Athletic Club 2-0 at home in midweek before they went to Osasuna and won 2-1. So suddenly, Espanyol are unbelievably no longer in a relegation battle, and they could still qualify for Europe if they win the last game of the season. And let's go the way. It's insane. What's the other team you mentioned? Elche. Elche, another great week for Elche. In midweek, they did lose to Real Betis 2-1, but then at the weekend they defeated Getafe 1-0 to get out of the relegation zone. So that's 3 wins from 6 for Elche. Going into the final game of the season, I'm sure you know what I'm going to ask. So the team currently in 18th place in the relegation zone are Girona. I mentioned it earlier. City Club owned Girona. Girona have had a terrible week. They drew 1-1 against Real Sociedad. Not a bad result by any stretch. But then they lost 1-0 at Atletico Madrid. So Girona, it all comes down to this. They are at home to Elche. If it's a draw, Girona are down. If they lose, Girona are down. If Girona win, it still might not be enough, but they have to win. That's the only way that Girona can survive. But likewise, Elche, if they draw, they're safe. So it's what a wonderful finale for the season, isn't it, for relegation?
Yeah, I think it will be the game decider for the third relegated team in La Liga, because as we said, with Mallorca being unlikely to stay up, I think that Elche Girona will be the most decisive game of the roundup of the last match day.
Levante, on the other hand, they've won 4 of their last 6, including 3 in a row.
Yeah.
That's an unreal turnaround. Again, this team was dead and buried 2 months ago. They won 3-2 at Celta Vigo on Tuesday, and as I already mentioned, they beat Mallorca 2-0 at home, which means Levante are also just a draw away from safety. What is? I was going to say an astonishing turnaround, but we're not doing this justice. This is borderline miracle.
Yeah.
They've won something like 33 of points in their last 19 games. This is European chasing form. And this is a team that was, for all effects and intents and purposes, relegated already. So yeah, nothing but applause for the manager, who again has done an astonishing job.
Yeah, the Luis Castro's effect, we can call it like that. He arrived in Levante after being sacked by Nantes, and he achieved miracles with the team, which are now 15th in La Liga. They are away to Levante, to Real Betis in the last match day. Real Betis, who are sure to be fifth in the league at the end of the season. So only a draw would assure them to stay in La Liga, and that could be a real deserved reward for everything they have done this past week.
Absolutely. We should probably mention a couple of other teams, because it's not all about the relegation. Villarreal have had a bad week. They've lost 2 games on the bounce. They lost at home 3-2 to Sevilla. Sevilla, who are basically safe now. They might need a point to guarantee it, but they're practically safe. Again, some brilliant results for Sevilla recently. But yeah, Villarreal lost at home 3-2 against them. They lost 2-0 at Rayo Vallecano. So suddenly they are on level points with Atletico Madrid. So that third place for Villarreal may well slip through their fingers if they're not careful. They've got the last game of the season to play. But yeah, they've taken their eye off the ball a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, but it will be interesting because they will play Atletico Madrid in the last game of the season, so it will be the decider for the third place.
Atletico, for their part, they won 2-1 at Osasuna in midweek, and I've lost their other game.
1-0 against Girona.
Oh, that was it. Yes, home to Girona. So that's 2 wins on the bounce for them. Anything else we should really mention? I'll tell you what. We've been talking about the relegation spot, but some of these teams are fighting for the last European place because Rayo Vallecano are through to the final of the Conference League. You've got Getafe currently in pole position in 7th place, but you've also got Rayo Vallecano, Valencia are now suddenly with a shout.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
They won. Was it 3 wins on the back? No, 3 wins in the last 7. They're undefeated. Oh, sorry. No, I'm looking at Vallecano. 7 points from the last 3 games. Valencia could well get a European spot. Real Sociedad, Espanyol, Athletic Club. Now, we should say Sociedad, Espanyol, Athletic Club, they're all sort of, their goal difference probably means they can't quite do it. But, of course, Sociedad are already in Europe because of the cup win. Regardless, this is a huge achievement for Getafe and Rayo Vallecano. Vallecano for getting back-to-back, potentially back-to-back seasons in Europe, and if they win the Conference League against Crystal Palace, that's another European trophy. Getafe, on the other hand, turned their season around quite early doors and finished so strongly. It's astonishing seeing what would be described as lower middle-class teams. So like the middle-class teams such as Valencia, Real Sociedad, Athletic Club, the clubs that are used to sort of challenging for European competition, though maybe not Champions League every single year. But suddenly all these teams have scrambled and dragged them down. And it's brilliant to see this sort of equilibrium, right? This equity between teams. It's just so competitive, and it's thrilling to watch.
Yeah, of course we have to say that these teams can play in European competition because of the creation of the Conference League. But it doesn't. We shouldn't forget that they have their own identity. When you talk about Getafe, you know how they play. Even if you don't watch them every single week, you know that they are a really compact block with real defensive assets. You even know some of the players' name, even if you don't know about
We should
something.
point out, it seems like Rayo Vallecano have been good for a while. I mean, like when
Yeah,
they think back to like Andy Iraola was coaching there before he was taken to Bournemouth. His former assistant, is now the coach there. It's like this is a brilliant
yeah.
sort of coaching line at Vallecano as well. We should have a quick mention because we need to move away from La Liga. There were some significant goodbyes this week.
Yeah.
For Atletico, they were saying goodbye to Antoine Griezmann. For Real Madrid, Danny Carvajal, his contract will not be extended, and he'll be leaving Real Madrid, kind of like sort of in secret a little bit because, of course, he's not really been playing due to his long-term injury.
Yeah.
Also, the league's goodbye to Lewandowski. So Barcelona fans better due to him, or adios. Barcelona, for their parts, they lost 1-0. We've not mentioned Alaves. Alaves, again,
Yes,
like hadn't won a match in forever, and yet they won 1-0 at home to Barcelona. Which is an astonishing result, and followed up with a win at Oviedo. But yeah, Barcelona, they won 3-1 at home to Betis, and the fans got to say thank you to Lewandowski, who's been a brilliant player for them. And there was a significant risk when they signed him.
I do think he's a legend at Barcelona, because when he arrived, the context of his signing was that Barcelona were in a kind of bankruptcy, and he arrived in a difficult environment at 34 years old. And
what was it?
he have-
50 million euros spent on him as well. A 33-year-old.
I think it was
huge risk.
I think it was also 60 million euros. And yeah, he scored a lot of goals, won a lot of titles, had images, and he showed other players of importance that Barcelona is still Barcelona. So yeah, true legend of the club.
And of course, I think that was the summer that Messi left as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it the one after? Anyway.
1 year after.
1 year after,
because
sorry.
Messi left in 2021, and Lewandowski signed in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, so a lot of goodbyes. But yeah, big stuff. Real Madrid had a good week, by the way. They defeated Real Oviedo 2-0, and then 1-0 at Sevilla. But no one's really talking about it at the minute because things have calmed down.
Yeah.
less chaotic week this week. Anything else we haven't mentioned? There was a very fun match between Real Sociedad and Valencia. Valencia winning 4-3. Yeah, brilliant match. If you haven't seen the highlights, go back. It's a good laugh. Right, we should. It's exhausting, isn't it, the La Liga? But as a finale, as a little, what's the opposite of an amuse-bouche? A digestif. We're going to go to Ligue 1 and the finale of there. So Paris Saint-Germain had already won the league. They defeated Lens 2-0 in midweek to confirm that. And my God, there's an absolute thunderstorm outside all of a sudden. Ooh, it's very dramatic.
It's the same here.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and someone's running off without a coat. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, I got distracted. Sorry, apologies to the live stream. If you feel like commenting and criticizing my performance, feel free to do so. Everyone else does. Yes, so Paris Saint-Germain were already confirmed title winners. Slightly strange circumstance, them being awarded the title, wasn't it?
Yeah, because as you know, it was a rescheduled game from the 29th match day because of their Champions League tie against Liverpool.
That's not what I was referencing. So this weekend was the Parisian derby for the final game of the season, and Paris Saint-Germain were given the trophy not after the game, not before the game, but before they warmed up. When no one was
in front of their away fans, but because
a bit weird.
Because Paris FC didn't want them to celebrate in their stadium, which is of course understandable.
Yeah, but it is literally next door to the other stadium, though. I mean, it's the difference between centre spots is about 200 meters.
Yeah, no, 33 meters. It's even closer. But yeah, it was a strange thing, and seeing Paris FC win this game is like a little reward for this humiliation.
I was going to say, all credit to Paris FC for absolutely raining on PSG's parade. So, yeah, Paris FC came from behind to win 2-1 with a winner in the 4th minute of stoppage time, which also means they did the double over Paris Saint-Germain, which was impressive. And Paris FC finished 11th, which is their highest finish ever. So
Yeah,
they had a slow start to the season, but they came good. But the two big talking points in league, one's the relegation fight, one was the Champions League chasing teams. Well, let's talk about relegation first. Nice, lovely Nice, well-run Nice, good team Nice. All they had to do was beat bottom of the table Metz and hope that Auxerre dropped points at Champions League chasing Lille. But Nice couldn't do that. They drew 0-0 against Metz. Nice don't deserve nice things, do they?
no,
Nice
they
things.
don't. No, they don't, and especially since I don't know if you saw what happened at the end of the game.
I did not.
There was a pitch invasion by the fans with flares and everything to protest against.
It was a
their
common
season.
theme, wasn't it? We should actually say that the Nantes-Toulouse match was postponed for basically the same reason. So technically, the season hasn't ended because one match still needs a result, but it also might be abandoned because it doesn't really have any.
It has been abandoned, and Toulouse won the 3 points. So Nice only had to beat already relegated Metz, and they didn't. Now, their only chance to stay up is by beating Saint-Etienne in the playoffs.
Huge game. And Saint-Etienne have got a bit of a obviously they're a huge team in the French league. So that's a big 2-2 game playoff, we should say. So it's home and away.
But the thing is that Nice will play in the French Cup final, and it could be a poisoned gift for them.
Well, I was going to say, I think it was the president of the club or something like that came out in an interview and said we need to concentrate on the playoff. Like the cup final's great, but the priority is the league, which is so strange because an opportunity to win silverware. Thing is, I something I've not taken into consideration this season because I've been poking fun at Nice the whole time, and rightly so. They've been awful. However, you've got to feel serious sympathy for the fans because the owners have completely abandoned the club, and they've made no secret about that. They've abandoned them because they're concentrating on Manchester United, which is disgraceful, isn't it? Like if you can't be bothered to run the football club, you should sell it but they not because they want to get a proper price for it. So you feel sympathy actually for the fans, don't you?
Yeah, but say hello to the multi-ownership. Because that's the big deal here.
Well, it's slightly different. Like the other, like we talk about sort of Chelsea and Man City, like those are multi-club models, whereas Manchester United is not. That's just owned by the same person. It's not like a planned sort of expansion or feeder team or anything like that. It's just they own two clubs.
Yeah, but Nice. They used to be a big club in France, and they're now battling against Metz, against Nantes, Auxerre, who are also big clubs in France, but not the big clubs.
Nice is sizable. Well, actually, on that note, we should say before we talk about the Champions League teams, credit to Auxerre because they're the only team in France. Well, technically, they have the best form in France. They've won their last 3 games of the season, and it saved them. They are, not even a relegation playoff. They are safe for another year. And the big thank you should go to their striker. Is it Sinayoko?
Sinayoko,
who has scored, I think, 14 goals this season, which is a bit like Mallorca, right, in Spain. The fact that there's one striker carrying them.
Great player because he was refused to join Lens last summer by his club, and finally he stayed and scored 14 goals, as you said, just to make them stay up in the league. So great story and great man.
Hopefully he gets his move this year then, considering that's I did that. Right, let's talk about the Champions League teams. So we said Auxerre won. Well, they were at Lille, 3rd place Lille, who only needed a win to confirm their Champions League status. They did not. They lost. which meant that it was over to Lyon to take advantage. They did not. They lost, which meant it went to Rennes to take advantage. They did not. They lost. So, so in a strange case, it was, again, a bit of an anticlimax in that sense, although a very tense one, I imagine, for you. Let's talk about Lille, first of all, because they were at home to Auxerre. Is it fair to say that Auxerre just basically wanted it more? Like, they felt like they really fought for it, as opposed to Lille gave it away?
No, Auxerre deserved their win. They have seen one of their goals disallowed also. So it showed that they had scored 3 goals. But we have said it in the past weeks. Auxerre deserves to stay in La Ligue 1 for what they have shown this season.
But let's concentrate. But like Lille specifically, it's almost like they qualified for the Champions League by default, because the last few weeks they actually have dropped points. But it just so happens that all the other teams around them have also dropped points, usually when they played each other. So it was almost like Lille were good enough, but not necessarily brilliant.
Yeah, but they had a really good run these past weeks. They were, I think, 11 points away from the third place back in the January or February. So they had a good run, and it allowed us to finally step up on the podium. So credit to them.
Well, speaking of fortunate, though, Lyon, they played Lens' reserve team, essentially, as Lens sort of prepared for the cup final next week. Lyon at home lost 4-0. What the hell happened?
Terrible game from Lyon. They completely failed to turn up for the match. And Lens just killed them on the pitch. It is a missed opportunity for Lyon. But if we are being honest, looking back at what happened last summer, if you had tell Lyon supporters that they would finish fourth, of course everyone would have signed. But the thing is that there were hopes for Lyon to qualify directly for the Champions League next season, and this is kind of disappointing to not achieve this.
But we should say Lyon are through to the qualifiers for the Champions League, finishing fourth, ahead of Marseille. Marseille squeaked into 5th place. They won the last 2 games of the season, including the last game at home to Rennes. Marseille winning 3-1. It felt like Rennes just ran out of steam. They did so well the second half of the season and absolutely deserve European football. But Marseille just caught them on an off day, didn't they?
Yeah, Marseille needed this win because of their terrible season. Not to have qualified for European football next season would have been a real drama for Marseille. So thankfully, they are now in the Europa League, a competition in which they could hope to go at least to the quarter or semi-final. So it was important for them.
Marseille finished 5th, Rennes finished 6th, ahead of Monaco, who finished 7th, who may yet still get European football if Lens win the cup against Nice. Other results to tell you. I'll tell you what, great week for Strasbourg. It's been a terrible time because obviously they lost 2 separate semi-finals in recent weeks. They can't qualify for Europe themselves, but they finished the season in some style. They were losing 4-1 at home to Monaco with half an hour left and ended up winning 5-4. Gary O'Neill's men doing something disgusting to Monaco. It felt good for them to finish on a high because it has actually felt like a good season for Strasbourg, even if they haven't finished in the European places.
Yeah, it was a good thing to finish on that note, but of course it's a failure because they abandoned the league and their opportunities to qualify for the European competition just to focus on the Coupe de France and on the Conference League. And finally, they will not win any title and not qualify for the European Cup. So it's a mixed season for Strasbourg as their brothers' season.
I think it's sisters. Okay, well, that's it. That's the end of our roundup for all the 5 major European leagues this week. Anything we might have missed from you?
A couple of notably concerning the World Cup squad. Of course, Neymar has been selected by Carlo Ancelotti to represent Brazil.
But João Pedro hasn't.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for João Pedro, but I'm so happy to be able to watch Neymar, Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo playing their last World Cup together. It will be a very cool thing.
Yeah.
I also saw that Ertz of Midlothian, goalkeeper, has been called up by forgot the name of Scottish manager.
We'll just pause there, get your thoughts together, because we got a comment from Foxy Aero saying, shocking season for Nice, really. Will be a great relegation playoff game then against St Etienne, who finished third in Ligue 2. Absolutely. That's what we mentioned that earlier. And also just think about some of the teams that have been relegated in recent years from Ligue 1, like Montpellier are now down there.
Nantes.
And Nantes, of course, are down. So, like, these are big French teams that are now in Ligue 2. Like, we talk quite often about the Zwei Bundesliga having a lot of big German teams. It's that way in Ligue 2 now. It really is. So you would still say Nice, on paper, Nice should be favourites for that, but they just haven't won a match. And so I think the only match they've won in the last 2 months was their cup semi-final. Kind of mad, really. And there's a comment from MG mate. What has Semenyo gifted Guardiola apart from a £25 million bill for his agent? Well, Semenyo, I mean, he's a gift that keeps on giving. Not only has he given it to Man City, but to Bournemouth as well, who are undefeated since Semenyo left. So really, Semenyo is giving to everybody. What was the thing you were going to say about the Scottish manager?
He selected the 43-year-old Ertz goalkeeper for the World Cup, and I think it's a beautiful story too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're playing decent level football still, even at that age, why not? And also, it can just be experience around the camp. We need to finish there. Sadly, we've run over, so no time for the trivial trivia. Just a quick word on Jose Mourinho, who finished his Portuguese Primera season undefeated with Benfica, but finished third and misses out on the Champions League. Oh well, and that, of course, is probably the next Real Madrid manager.
And have you seen the name of his successor?
I have not.
A former Manchester United manager.
There are so many of recent weeks.
A Portuguese one?
No. Is it?
He is.
Amorim's going to Benfica.
Yeah, Amorim is going. Should go to Benfica according to reports.
Yeah, but that's dirty, isn't he? Going from Sporting to Benfica.
Yeah.
That's just, you don't do that. Anyway, sorry. Last comment from NJB saying, Endrick to Arsenal, watch this space. I'll watch it very carefully, but my money's not on that.
No, but that would be interesting. Though.
It'd be fun. But anyway, we've run over. Stop distractions, NGB, with your titillating comments. Right, we need to stop. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching live. Don't forget, if you ever want to send comments, you can do so live or on the video after it's posted. Feel free to do so. We do try and respond to everybody. Thank you, Leo, as ever.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Foxy and NGB, for your comments. Thank you to everyone who have watched this show. And
please, next time, comment before like the last minute. So
yeah. And you can subscribe on our YouTube channel if you want to.
Absolutely. Join us next week where we've got the finale of the seasons in Spain, in Italy, and in the Premier League as well. As watch out for the German Cup final, the French Cup final. We've got midweek, we've got the Europa League final. Oh, it's that time of the year. Right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great old week. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.